Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports episode 94 on Spreaker and on iHeartRadio. If you have any opinions on everything that's going on in the Detroit sports world, call in or send a text message live on the show at 231-429-3668. I like to hear from everyone. Tonight we're going to, also you can add me on Facebook as Taylor Phillips. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page. Join my Facebook group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group, and follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Tonight we're going to talk a lot of stuff that went on this past weekend, as well as tonight and today. Let's go ahead and start off with the Pistons. Am I still on here? Keith Langlois likes a fast breakdown of the 107-93 loss to the Orlando Magic at the Palace of Auburn Hills tonight. Three quick observations from Monday from that game. Slam dunk. Orlando shot it even better, 13-26, with 6 players hitting at least one. But what really made the difference was the disparity in shooting all these shots inside the arc. While the Pistons were struggling, the big three of Josh Smith, Andre Drummond, and Greg Monroe uncharacteristically hit only 10 of 28. The Magic were hot on both sides of the line, making 28 of 53. And about the big three, Matt Derry tweeted, quote on Twitter, SVG, Stan Van Gundy, just said he should have let Drummond in the game at the end. Big mistake there, he said. Hashtag Pistons. You can follow Matt Derry at Derry1051. He's the noon to 3 weekday host, the talk show host on Detroit Sports 1051, talking all things Detroit sports and some national sports too. The free throw segment. Kyle Singler is one of those players who can help grease an offense's wheels, even when he's not showing up with much in the points and assists column. just by the way he keeps the ball moving and forces a defense to shift with his relentless cutting action. But when his three-point shot is falling, he adds another dimension. After a slow start last season, he made only 4 of 25 three-point attempts through his first 11 games last season. Singler heated up at about this time. It looks like it's happening again. The start wasn't quite as cold this season, 7 of 23 through 9 games. Singler broke out by hitting 5 of 7 three-pointers on Saturday at Memphis. Caron Butler's red hot night limited Singler's minutes, but he scored 7 points in 19 minutes and hit 1 of 2 from the arc. Butler hit 3 of 5 from deep and led the Pistons with 20 points. And now the third and final segment, the three-pointer. Stan Van Gundy was asked before the game what impact Orlando's offseason acquisition of Channing Frye had on its offense. He said, quote, "It changes the entire thing," unquote. Van Gundy knows how to make great use of big men who are elite shooters, and nobody at his size shoots it better from the arc than Frye. He was a non-factor in the first half when he picked up 3 fouls and missed his only shot. But his fingerprints were all over Orlando's superb offensive second half when he had 4 triples to finish with 12 points. I think that mostly the Pistons' defense disappeared again. And I agree with Matt Deary's tweet on the big three. And Van Gundy having to fix it, willing to fix it. Right now but it's already taking a little extra time, and that just can't. Plus back to the lack of defense, most of it's like almost 90% of the time in the game, or maybe at least 70% of the time, the Magic shooters were wide open while the Pistons defense didn't know what was going on. They have to pay attention to what's going on. And I still don't understand why. They started out that way. from my perspective, I was looking at a 9-2 start through this point for the Pistons with Stan Van Gundy as their coach. Pistons next Wednesday night against the Suns, Phoenix Suns at 7:30. You can hear that on Detroit Sports 105.1 and Detroit Sports 105.1. 105.1 mobile app on your smartphone. Taking a look at the standings right now. The Pistons are now a game behind the Pacers and in last place. Pacers are 4-7. Phoenix Suns is 4th place, a half game behind the 8th place Western Conference Sacramento Kings. Suns are 6-5. Kings are 6-4. Fourth place in the Pacific Division. They got Isaiah Thomas, Alex Len, Gerald Green, Markeith. Suns are coming off a 118-114 win tonight at Boston over the Celtics. After losing to Los Angeles, the Clippers, 120-107. Those names sound like names that almost no Pistons fan has ever heard of. The Suns are a young team. The Pistons have to beat the Suns. More importantly, the Pistons have to improve on their defense and their offense, especially with their top three, Drummond, Smith, and Greg Monroe. Now let's get to some Lions here. Is Lions head coach Jim Caldwell satisfied with offensive play calling? Key questions by Tim Twentyman, a senior writer from DetroitLions.com. Tim Twentyman covers the key questions from Jim Caldwell's Monday press conference, including offensive play calling, Golden Tate's targets, and more. Jim Caldwell was asked during that press conference if there was one issue on offense showing up on film often than others that could help explain the inconsistency we've seen from that unit through 11 weeks. His answer should be somewhat alarming. Caldwell responded with this, quote, and I quote, "It's back and forth and up and down. Sometimes it may be a route that's not run exactly like you'd like it. Maybe it's the ball placement that's not thrown exactly where you'd like it, with the kind of timing you're looking for from that. That's one thing that is true. It could be pressure that's on Matthew that could give him some problems from offensive line, tight ends, and backs. That's true as well. The offensive line is paper-thin skin. Altogether, they're doing a poor job trying to protect Matthew Stafford in the pocket. By the way, you can contact me on Facebook and Twitter. Go to my Detroit Sports page, like my Detroit Sports page, join my Detroit Sports group on Facebook. Also, call in live on the show or text me a message with just the one number, 231-429-3668. Again, that's 231-429-3668. I like to hear from everyone that's a fan of Detroit sports. Continuing the quote from Jim Caldwell, there are all kinds of different things that have happened. There's never been any one thing, unquote. That's an alarming pattern. First question. So if so many different things have been the issue, how do coaches go about fixing it? The Lions have been predominantly inconsistent across the board because there's too many different parts lagging behind at times. There's no cohesiveness. That doesn't seem to be as easy a fix as if, say, one unit is continuing to underperform and there's a clear sign of what needs to be done to fix it. Caldwell said, quote, "It just tells you we have a little more work to do. That's all. We just have to keep trying to get better, and I think that's what this league does to you. It puts you in a position where week after week you have to find a way to get better. Particularly the things you haven't been doing well, because like I said, they'll continue showing up. That's our task. Those things are also true," unquote. It seems like a tough task, but with only 6 weeks to go in the regular season, there have been times when things have clicked offensively and points have gone up on the board in bunches. But those moments are too few and far between for the talent assembled. The Lions are averaging just 332.3 yards per game total, rushing and passing combined. That's 21st in the league. They're averaging 18.8 points per game, which ranks 26 total, and is nearly a touchdown worse than a year ago. Caldwell insists the problems he sees on film are correctable, and they are. But that's been the theme for a while now. They'll need to get them fixed quick because it's crunch time, and the Lions are in the thick of a playoff race. That's one thing. That's another thing that's true. Caldwell said, quote, "We know what the problems are. We see them happen. We try to get those corrected. Sometimes it just takes time." Yeah, sometimes it does. It's taking a little extra time, quote unquote. Next question. Is Caldwell satisfied with the job offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi is doing calling plays? Caldwell said, "Certainly," quote unquote. Lombardi, who was a first-time offensive coordinator after coming over from New Orleans, the Saints, is starting to feel some heat from fans on social media, message boards, and radio talk shows for the struggles of the offense. Caldwell added, "Joe does a good job," quote unquote. Caldwell doesn't explain it, so I will. I will defend his answers to it, because I agree. See, the passing accuracy, the lack of passing accuracy, football throwing accuracy, lack thereof, from Matthew Stafford, and the offensive line being too soft has nothing to do with Lombardi's play calling. So it's not the play calling decisions that Lombardi makes that's causing trouble. It's just up to him to try to make the offensive line and Stafford's Stafford's passing, football throwing accuracy a lot better. See, those are two things that have nothing to do with the play calling. Let's see. Joe Lombardi is doing his best calling plays, and Matthew Stafford's inaccurate throws, and the offensive line not pulling their weight against the opposing defensive front. It's just robbing Lombardi of success, and that's not his fault. That's the player's fault. Suppose if Lombardi made a really bad play call. And telling his receivers what to do wrong. And if they do it wrong, something bad happens, and then there's blame on Joe Lombardi. But no, that's just the offensive line being weak and Stafford's inaccurate throws. It's on the players themselves, not on the offensive coordinator or his play calling. Next question, how much input does Caldwell have in play calling? Caldwell said, quote, "Here's the bottom line. Every defensive call, every call on special teams, every call on offense goes through me. If I don't like it, I'll change it. I'm responsible for every call that goes in the ballgame, plain and simple. It's my prerogative, and thus I'm responsible if we're effective or ineffective." Unquote. Next question, why was Golden Tate targeted only 2 times in the game? Lombardi's offense is a system predicated on progressions. As Caldwell explained in his press conference, it's not an issue of Tate not being targeted, but rather Stafford getting to him in the progressions. Caldwell said, quote, told them, quote, "It's not a matter of going to him. The plays that we called are a lot of the same plays where he may have gotten the ball previously. You look at progressions. In the progressions, there may be a guy in front of him, and Stafford has to go somewhere else. Those are the things that happen more so than saying, hey, you know what, we're not designing any plays to go to Golden. That wasn't the case. It's just kind of the way things turn out sometimes," unquote. Golden Tate caught both passes thrown his way for 41 yards, which snapped his 3-game streak of 100-yard performances. Caldwell said about that, quote, Some games it just turns out that way. Through the years, those of us who have been around this thing a long time, there's ups and downs, there's ebbs and flows. Well, see, Stafford should have thrown the ball to Golden Tate more times. Even with Calvin Johnson back in the lineup, he re-injured his elbow, if you recall me reporting that on blogtalkradio.com and on my 1079 CDY Sports Update. I forgot to post this sports update here. Continuing with the quote from Caldwell, I remember Marvin Harrison won a couple ball games where he only got caught 1 or 2 passes. Reggie Wayne might have been the same thing, and a number of guys across the board. It happens week in and week out. You all think it's targeting, but it's not targeting necessarily, it's progressions. I don't see how that would be progressions. Well, of course it's not targeting. Well, I guess Caldwell meant by progressions Stafford having to throw the ball more times to Golden Tate. Next question, how much of a concern are the penalties? The Lions have been flagged 91 times with opponents accepting 73 of them for 627 yards. The 91 flags are tied for the 7th most in the league. Caldwell admitted, quote, those are a concern, far too many penalties, and that's just the honest fact, and we have to get it straightened out. Unquote. Next question, how do the Lions get the penalty issue straightened out? Caldwell said, quote, just continue to talk about it. You show examples. You make certain that you have officiating at practice, which we do. You talk about those things in detail, and the guys that are inconsistent in practice, you better get someone else in there to play. Obviously, we have to do better, unquote. What's the mindset? Next question. Last question. What's the mindset moving forward after a tough loss, 14-6, to the Cardinals? The Lions lost a game on the road by 1 score to the team with the best record in the NFL. It happens. There aren't any heads hanging low in Allen Park on Monday. The team is back to work and already getting ready for next week's game in New England against the Patriots. Caldwell said, quote, "There's not anything you can do about that game. We don't dwell on it. We do go through the game and point out our mistakes with brutal honesty. We don't shortchange it. We talk to the players directly. You have to get those things fixed. Things that you can get fixed, you have to get fixed. And you have to get fixed, and you have to get them fixed in a hurry. Otherwise, you're going to see them again week after week after week. We do those things, but we don't spend a whole lot of time after today talking about this particular game. You've got to have a short memory in this game. A little riverboat gambler with a little short memory, quote unquote." Caldwell made the point that this is a spot the Lions were in earlier this season. Caldwell said, quote, "This puts us to a point where we're 1-1 in this quarter, where we've been before. The first game of the season we won, the second game we lost. We were 1-1 in the first quarter, and the guys were able to bounce back, and we had to bounce back against a very good football team in the first quarter. That was Green Bay, the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers too. So we're going to have to get ourselves into position to bounce back against a very good football team in the New England Patriots," unquote. And that game starts at 1 o'clock on Sunday on your local Fox station. And if you have any opinions on the Lions or the Pistons, just give me a call at 231-429-3668. You can text message me at the same number, 231-429-3668. Moving on real quick. Just 12 minutes left on episode 94. Michigan Wolverines defensive back Frank Clark was arrested recently for alleged domestic violence and dismissed from the football program. A senior starter from Cleveland was listed as an inmate on the Erie County Jail website early Sunday morning. That was yesterday morning. He was also arrested on felony theft charges. I want to bite my tongue on purpose here. Prior to his sophomore season in 2012, after admitting he stole a $1,800 MacBook Air laptop from a Michigan dorm room, Clark was ordered to pay $1,741 in fines and costs, and was also given 1 year's probation. 1 year probation. He had 42 tackles, 13.5 for yard lossage, and 4.5 sacks this season. He was sentenced at the time under the Holmes Youthful Training Act, and the felony was wiped from his record after he completed his probation. Michigan suspended Clark 1 game for that arrest, the season opener against Alabama. This past summer, Hogue booted former wide receiver Cassante York from his program after York was arrested on assault charges after punching and severely injuring a man outside an Ann Arbor bar in July. In December 2013, former Michigan left tackle Taylor Lewan, now at the Tennessee Titans, was charged with 3 misdemeanors stemming from a fight outside an Ann Arbor bar as well. Those charges were ultimately dismissed. And when Lewan entered a guilty plea to drunken disorderly conduct and disturbing the peace. He was allowed to play in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl last postseason. And finally, Michigan kicker Brendan Gibbons, who was arrested in 2009 as a part of the sexual assault investigation, was expelled from school December 2013 for violating the university's sexual misconduct policy. So Brady Hoke, the head coach, having to deal with legal issues it's over and over again. Your opinion on that? 231-429-3668 is the number to call and text me about. Live on episode 94 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker and on iHeartRadio. Moving on to the Tigers. They just picked up catcher Alex Avila's $5.4 million option for 2015. That's next year. When they could have negated his option with a $200,000 contract buyout that could have subjected Avila to salary arbitration. He turns 27. He is 27 years old. He is eligible for free agency next fall. He batted .218 in 127 games this past season with 11 home runs and a .686 on-base plus slugging percentage. His batting average has dropped each of the last 3 years from a career high of .295 in 2011. But he led the American League with 36 runners caught stealing. Had the Tigers not exercised the option, they would have been left with Brian Holiday and James McCann, the former Avila's backup in 2015, and the latter with minimal major league experience as their catchers for 2015. I'm kind of 50-50 on this. Avila's offense has been getting worse since 2011. He still plays great defense, but he only has one chance left to greatly improve his offense. Thus far, I don't like the Tigers' chances to win the World Series until they fix that bullpen. About 6.5 left on the show. Let's preview Red Wings and Blue Jackets in Columbus tomorrow night at 7 on Fox Sports Detroit. Slow starts grind at coach and players. Bill Roos from DetroitRedWings.com. Starting on time, critically important for Wings, who may be without Datsuk again.
That's not what I want to hear. What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me.
Though the Red Wings are among 4 teams with fewer than 5 regulation losses, their inability to consistently start games on time is beginning to grind at them. Jimmy Howard, their goaltender, will get his 5th straight start Tuesday when the Red Wings play Columbus. He said, quote, "Start on time, that's basically it right there, done. It's just being ready for the drop of the puck. When we score first, we seem to be a pretty good team. When we get behind by a goal, or spot the team a couple, it just seems to be an uphill climb for us. So when you start on time, things go well for you," quote unquote. The numbers certainly bear out for the Wings, who have compelled a 5-1-2 record when they've scored first this season. However, when they yielded the first goal in a game, as was the case in Sunday's 4-1 loss to Montreal, the Wings are a mediocre 3-3-3. unlike Friday when the Red Wings played arguably the best game of the young season, a 4-1 win over the Chicago Blackhawks, they seemed to go flat against the Canadiens, especially early on when they had no energy. Like I said on Blog Talk Radio last night, they didn't even have a desire to win, to beat the Canadiens, or even try to match up with them. According to head coach Mike Babcock, there was plenty wrong with his team's performance that needs correcting before the Wings head out this week for road games in Columbus, Winnipeg, and Toronto. Certainly the lack of energy and effort has been prevalent in recent weeks. Babcock said, quote unquote, shooting the puck is part of it. Face-off circle is as well, along with taking care of the puck. There's lots of different things, unquote. The Wings have been dealing with slow starts ever since their 3-game road trip that saw them struggle against the Sabres, Senators, and Rangers and limp home following an 0-1-2 stretch. Though it's only November, the upcoming schedule is important if the Wings are to keep pace in the Eastern Conference playoff race. Detroit begins this week in 3rd place in the Atlantic Division and 6th overall in the conference. I agree with that. It may be early, but the playoff race is becoming critical early on. That's the kind of energetic urgency that Red Wing fans should be looking for, and the players as well, and the coaches. The Wings practiced Monday at Joe Louis Arena without Pavel Datsyuk. Babcock said the Wings star center is dealing with a sore groin again, the same thing that kept him out of the first 2 games of a 4-game homestand, which concluded Sunday.
That's not what I want to hear. What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me.
According to Babcock, Datsyuk did accompany the team to Columbus, but his status for Tuesday will likely be a game day decision. Babcock said, quote, he's getting checked out, I don't know what the word is, unquote. Despite their slow start this season, the Blue Jackets have played the Wings tight in recent seasons, especially in Ohio's capital city. Since 2011, the Jackets have a 7-2-1 mark against Detroit at Nationwide Arena. Wings defenseman Brendan Smith said, quote, we have to be prepared and bring our A-game because they always play hard against us. I think they've changed the dynamic of their team. A lot of their players do it right, playing both ends of the ice. They muck and grind and make it difficult. I think some of the things we can do better is start on time and use our speed effectively, and that's going to be good for us, quote unquote. Justin Advocator added, quote, we have to play a simple game and can't turn the puck over. You have to get pucks deep, get pucks to the net. Hopefully we can do that and sustain some pressure. Be smart the first 5 to 10 minutes and limit our turnovers. That's always a big thing on the road, and eliminate turnovers and play more of a north-south game, quote unquote. Well, not only be smart the first 5 to 10 minutes, Justin, be smart the entire 60 plus minutes. 65 minus. One little note to add, the new Wings Arena, which is set to be open in the 2016-2007 season, will host an NCAA tournament set of NCAA tournament games in 2018 in Detroit. Your opinions on that on social media? That's going to do it for episode 94 of Taylor's Detroit Sports. Thanks for listening and downloading. TTFN, ta-ta for now. I'll be back tomorrow night after the Wings Jackets.